Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we are taking a deeper dive into our thoughts about some of the successful couples of Married at First Sight.
Listen, guys, we are back. I am back from being sick, and y'all would have had a video sooner, but I got my wife sick. I know y'all yelling in the comments, oh my goodness, how dare you do that to Blair? Who's going to do her hair? Chris, who's going to do her hair? How dare you? Listen, she's back. She's feeling a little better. I just want to address a couple things first. For one, yes, everybody in the comments, we seen the interview. We watched the whole interview. I believe Leah did a great job.
She really did.
I really believe Leah asked some great questions, some great follow-up questions. I feel like there wasn't no favoritism. I feel like it was actual open, left the questions open for however Karla wanted to answer the question. What was your thoughts on the interview overall, Blair?
Yeah, I enjoyed the interview. Just looking at it, I mean, I felt like it was bright. It was like welcoming, just like looking at the interview of how it was taped. I like the questions. I'm glad that Karla had the space and opportunity to really give her perspective of behind the scenes of what she felt were some of the shortcomings in the relationship on Juan's side and things that she wasn't really privy to knowing that he felt about until the season actually aired. So it's always nice to get some more detail and information to, continue to have conversations.
Yeah.
So,
and the funny thing about it is that I was like, maybe we should make a video about our reaction to the interview. But I was like, everything that was said in that interview, especially to the part about Juan and how they basically was married on the show, we said this months ago. We said this as a community. We said this as a show in our deep dives and things like that. It's funny because I was talking to my wife the other day, and I said, you know how many deep dives we did? And she was like, maybe 15, 18. We did 30 deep dives, guys.
Yes.
There's 20 episodes of Married at First Sight. We did 30, and we started in the middle of the season. For one, I want to thank my wife for agreeing with the idea. I brought the idea to her. I said, I want to do something to basically go into deeper detail with the content, with the topics and things like that. Because I don't want to leave the people here too long with me talking for 2 hours on the review.
Right.
So a lot of people feel like they came on the one deep dive, but we've been doing this for a long time, as y'all can see on the screen. These are some of our greatest hits right here. You get what I'm saying? So I, for one, want to thank Blair. Of course, I got to thank our friends in the comments and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of y'all have not watched the reviews, but y'all came in on the deep dives and then went back to watch the reviews. Thank y'all for saying y'all like it. Thank y'all for saying y'all enjoyed it. Because I did not want to cheat y'all. I didn't want to take what we already recorded and chop it up. I wanted to take it, have some new thoughts, go deeper in it. And guess what? This may be a thing that we may do for Married at First Sight next year. For sure. Another thing I want to do is I just want to go over the mission statement of this channel, right?
Okay.
Because we have some new viewers. So they may not know what is the objective, at least my objective, of doing this channel with my wife. My wife approached me and she says, I would like to talk about reality TV shows with you. I said no initially.
You did.
Right? I said no. I'm already running other businesses and things of that nature. I don't have time to be watching Real Housewives of Potomac. So, right? So I was like no. After months later, I think even a year later, right? She brought the idea back to me, and I said, okay, let's do it. That is the only mission statement of this channel, is to talk about these shows with my wife. My objective is not to address anything outside of this house, outside of this circle that we have. And this circle is It Takes Two show. Anything that's on the outside is none of my business. Anything that's on the outside is, listen here, I have a goal, and my goal is here. I'm not moving to the side. Right. So don't expect to hear any response from me about anything, because guess what? I didn't hear it. I didn't see it. And I don't care, because guess what? It did not come from my wife, and it did not come from my community on It Takes Two show. Do you have anything to add to our mission statement, Blair?
Yeah, just the fact that we wanted to talk to each other about these shows. We talk about these shows all the time. Half the time he wouldn't watch the shows, so I'd have to recap and retell him what was going on anyway. So I'm just like, why not make a YouTube channel about it? And, it's something that we wanted to do as far as, kind of producing a show and having a community and having conversations about these things that we already talk about. So to me, it's just fun sitting here talking to you, talking to our, friends and everyone that's online with us, and to really have great conversations about the shows that we watch and also the social media aspect of it as well.
Yeah.
For a lot of the shows that we watch, social media is an integral part in the show. So everything that happens online, everything that happens on the TV show is all part of the conversation. And so I've just been having fun with it. So
listen here, I have been enjoying a lot of it.
Yeah.
Now that we got that addressed, can we talk about our deep dive today, Blair?
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about our deep dive. In the interview with Karla mentioned us, right? It Takes Two show, right? A lot of people do not know, but a lot of people do know that, and maybe even attribute the fact that Karla even doing this interview because of our deep dive, right? Because we did a deep dive that Juan responded to, and when he responded to us, we responded to him.
In video form.
Literally 1 and 2, right? And in the interview and even in our deep dives, one thing that she said that Juan is calculated, and she also addressed him as saying that he's performative, basically just repeating what we said, right? And I want to touch on Married at First Sight as a brand, right? And I was going to name this Married at First Sight Does Work, but I'm going to go more on it can work. One thing that I've seen in the comments, especially in our community, is that, the producers are doing this for ratings. The experts are mismatching people for ratings, for drama, and things of that nature. And I think, and I can say even I attribute it to it, that we focus too much on the negative part of Married at First Sight as the brand, as the show. I said it even this season. I said we got one couple again. That's 20% out of the 100, out of the 5 couples. That's not a good percentage, and things of that nature. And I like to highlight the negative, but I can't be fair in my judgment without highlighting the positives, right? So here are some names that I just want to bring back to people's memory. You ready, Blair?
I'm ready.
Bobby and Danielle, season 7. Deanna and Greg, season 9. Keith and Christine, season 8. Anthony Ashley and Ashley, season 5. AJ and Stephanie, season 8. Shanice and Jeffy, season 6. Brianna and Vincent, season 12. Nicole and Chris, season 16. Austin and Jessica, season 10. Woody and Imani, season 11, if you want to count Thomas and Camille of this past season. And, of course, the flagship couple that was in season 1, Doug and Jamie, season 1. Here's my thesis, and then we go take off. I believe you have to be a little crazy to sign up for Married at First Sight. Sorry.
Agreed. Because it's a wild process and experience to put yourself out there on TV anyways, let alone to marry a stranger. So
we can't call people crazy. So maybe I should address it as I'm not crazy because I wouldn't sign up for Married at First Sight. Maybe adventurous, right? Yeah. So to sign up for such a unique experience, right, you have to believe that the numbers work in your favor, right? Meaning that, hey, even though the percentage of people that get married or Married at First Sight is low, you have to believe that, hey, I am part of that small number that is going to get married and stay married or Married at First Sight, right? And I would think that if you are crazy enough to sign up for a show such as Married at First Sight, that you will fully give yourself to the process. And I think that is where the disconnect of the viewers and the people who are on the show are having with this whole show. Because I don't really understand of why someone would sign up for this show, as crazy as it may seem, as much as you got to go through the interview process, when they got to come to your house, you got to submit pictures of your exes, you got to do all these things to be accepted on the show just for you to self-edit. Just for you to say, well, she's not my type. Just for you to say, I don't like the way he does this. Just for him to say, you have a lot of things that you wouldn't do, but yet you would do the craziest thing, which is marry at first sight, right? Which is to marry at first sight. So that's why I'm like, maybe it's not the experts, right? And I really want to really dig deeper, Blair, of basically what did the people do in the past, right? I understand that Married at First Sight was probably a newer show when it was the new show when Doug and Jamie was on, right? But one thing I realized that you did the research that you told me, some of the things we see in this season, we kind of saw it back in season 1.
As far as certain hurdles and challenges. And I think that's why we like watching it so much, even as much of a train wreck as it can be. I think that the drama part of it is entertaining. But also there's like this sociology, psychology aspect to it, to where we want to know, like, what issues do people have when they come together in a relationship? How do people actually get over these hurdles in order to form a union? Like, what are the challenges that, you know, we can see in ourselves? Like, oh, when we first started dating, that was definitely something that was an issue for me. Or, you know, these things that we can connect and relate to and see how these people navigate with the help of the experts when they're available to actually get through. So it's just like, there's all these things that I think we enjoy about the show. Like, I think that over the years it's definitely become more and more trash TV. But I think that at the core of it, like, there is like a silver lining with some of these successful couples. And I went and did some research about what were just kind of some moments, some takeaways that I could kind of gather from a few of my favorite past couples, and kind of help me see what did they bring that possibly that was the thing that got them to say yes on decision day. Like, what characteristics or mindsets did they have that could get them over that hurdle? So,
hey, listen here, before we get into that, just to refresh your memory, these are some of the hurdles that we've seen recently. Hey, he don't have a job. He lives in the basement. She don't know how to cook. She don't know how to clean, right? These are all new things that we have heard in previous seasons, in recent seasons, of why I couldn't commit to Married at First Sight. But yet, I signed up to Married at First Sight. So, Blair, give us some research there like you did, please.
Okay, so I'm going to touch on Camille and Thomas, since that's, fresh on our minds. They talked about the hurdles of Thomas not being swaggy enough, Camille's lack of vulnerability, and the different conversations and keeping the difficult conversations and being able to keep the lines of communication open. There were times where the conversations were so tough that Thomas was crying because he was like, this is actually hitting a deep wound of mine of not being, black enough and, not being, accepted into different communities. I was adopted. I didn't know I was adopted. So even though Camille might think of it as a simple physical type of change, like, it affected Thomas at a deeper level, but instead of shutting down, he was able to kind of meet her where she was in order to get over that hurdle. And with all these couples, nobody's perfect. There were people who were saying and doing stuff that they probably had no business saying or doing. And things that we would kind of side eye them at, which adds to the drama of the show, which makes it entertaining. But they did have that just little nugget of gold within them and their relationship to get them to that next level.
And look, Camille and Thomas' work is not finished either.
Right.
The fact that they committed to the process, as ugly as it may seem, I have to give them their respect. I say, hey, in the beginning, Camille, you were kind of harping on this swaggy, you ain't black enough thing. But guess what? That's the ugly part of marrying someone at first sight, is that you're used to what your normality is, and you have to kind of submit and humble your normal to actually pick up this new normal, which is I married a stranger and I have to accept him for who that person is 100%. So I do give Camille and Thomas their respect for this past season.
Yes. So then Jamie and Doug. So back then, Jamie, she grew up with a really tough childhood. She never knew her father. Her mom was an addict. She was a legal guardian of her siblings, and they lacked a lot of basic needs growing up. So, of course, we know Jamie was not attracted to Doug when she initially saw him. She didn't want to even kiss the man.
No, she did not.
But there was a scene when they went to her childhood home, and Doug, his typical personality was to make a joke out of things, but instead of doing that, he actually provided her the support that she needed in that moment, because all the memories, everything was just kind of rushing back to her of how hard her life was growing up. And instead of joking around and being the person that he typically is, he saw a need and met her in that need. Then with them, there was a scene where Doug shared that he didn't know how to do laundry.
Whoa, a grown man don't know how to do laundry?
He was 30-something years old, didn't know how to do laundry. He talked about how his mom just always did his laundry for him. And Jamie was saying that she thought it was crazy as well that this grown man doesn't know how to do his own laundry. But what do we see? She was in the laundromat, washing this man's dirty drawers, throwing away the holy ones, and saying that, you know what? We made this deal that if I'm going to wash the dirty clothes, he can pick up the dog's pee and poop. And that was a compromise that worked for them in their relationship to try to get them over that hurdle of this grown man not knowing how to do his laundry.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying this, and maybe this is actually the flaw in the production and in the experts, right? I think they are trying to catch lightning in a bottle like they did in season 1.
Okay.
Right? And they need to change with the times.
Yeah.
Right? Because they probably look at Doug and Jamie as the flagship couple of the show. Y'all was on season 1, and Jamie did not like Doug at all.
Right.
And if we can actually counsel and actually convince Jamie to give into the process, then we can convince anybody to give into the process. Because she fell out during the wedding, right? Walking down the aisle. She didn't want to kiss the man. She thought he was ugly. He did not know how to clean. He was a mama's boy, didn't know how to do anything, right? He was a jokester, right? He wasn't serious about anything. But when it was time to actually show up and actually be like, let me actually try to find something good about him. The time where you was sharing with us about sharing her home and showing him where like she lived and how she grew up and things like that. And the time that he normally would joke around, he didn't, right? I think if you give into the process, I'm not saying that you will say yes on decision day, but don't rob yourself of the experience of you may learn something about yourself or learn something about your partner. And guess what? You can be married at first sight, maybe. And
then another thing I want to add about Jamie is that she was on The Bachelor before she was on Married at First Sight.
Oh, man.
And I think that there was something I was reading to where they were talking about how they weren't necessarily sure if they wanted to cast her because we don't really want somebody who's like, kind of all over the TV and all over reality TV scene. Yeah. Because they probably didn't know how serious she would actually take the experience. But it turned out pretty good.
Yeah. Let's keep going.
So season 9, Deanna and Greg. So the biggest thing with Deanna is that it was hard for her to let her guard down to be open and vulnerable with Greg. She was single for 10 years prior to getting with Greg. So it was a lot of internal things that she was battling in order to be able to be a partner to him. He had patience with her, talked to her, and slowly she let her guards down, and they're together till today.
Nice.
Then Amani and Woody. Absolutely love Amani and Woody. And I'll give it to you guys. Some of these people had easier times than others. Some people, the attraction was there. So definitely that makes things a little bit easier when you're trying to get to know somebody and trying to get through all their different quirks. So not saying that, things are, perfect or have to be perfect. But so with Amani and Woody, he came across as very unserious, bachelor lifestyle kind of guy. Honestly, when I first started watching that season, I was like, I don't take this guy Woody seriously. Wow. I don't think he's going to take this whole thing seriously.
That's fair.
Well, I feel like he surprised me and a lot of the viewers. The physical attraction was there. He appreciated how honest she was as a person, and he was willing to adjust to her needs. Now, there was a scene where Pastor Cal wanted to challenge them to talk about some deeper issues, and he talked about how he doesn't like surprises. If she wants to get up and cut her hair one day, he is not going to be down for it. She needs to have a conversation with him first. Okay. And Amani was taken aback by that because this is my body. If I want to do something different to my body, then it's up to me to decide to do that. Well, he gave her a little bit of pushback by saying, if you change your appearance, that could change the physical attraction that we have going on. Okay. And then the conversation starts to go into, so if she was to get alopecia, would you be cool with that? He's like, well, that's a sickness. That's an illness. That's something that I wouldn't have an issue with. But for her altering something without having a conversation, it bothers me. We got a little deeper. And he said that the root of the issue was that in a past relationship, he thought that he was going to have a child with this girl. She decided to get rid of the baby. he wasn't given the opportunity to have the discussion about it, or even to be there with her, to be there when she got the baby out of her situation.
Yeah.
And that was something that was more so stemming from the control or lack of control or not knowing, versus the actual, you cut your hair and, now I'm not going to be attracted to you. Don't get me wrong. I think that's a huge part of it still. But I do think that communication piece is really what was important, that they were actually getting to the bottom of what they needed to have included in their relationship to make things work.
Nice.
Next, Brianna and Vincent. Y'all, Brianna was bossy.
Yeah, she was.
She was very, very bossy. And Vincent wasn't comfortable with it, but he sidestepped around a lot of the conversations. So just to say, there were people in the past who were successful that had a hard time with being upfront about their issues as well. But I will say that he had a friend in his back pocket that was the friend of all friends. And he told him, look, man, y'all are different people and you can't expect her to react and handle things the way that you do. If something rubs you the wrong way, take away what you're thinking in your head and think about where your partner is coming from. Actually consider that person's intentions and realize that they're just going about things differently than you.
Facts.
And that can speak to Emem and Akechi and how we're talking about this art and science and asking questions versus vibing. And that is giving the other person the benefit of the doubt that they're not trying to attack you, but they're just moving in the way that they know how to.
Exactly. It's not it's not an answer stick to hit you over the head with. You know what I'm saying? Was that all your examples?
Those are my examples.
Those are some excellent examples. Let us know in the comments which season was your favorite season with the couples and things of that nature. And that's why I will circle back and say that don't come to me and tell me that Karla wasn't good for the experience because she didn't know how to turn on a stove. Or like didn't know how to cook and clean and things like that. This man did not know how to wash laundry. This man had his mama doing basically the house chores for him. You get what I'm saying? And now guess what? His wife that he just met. This is not a wife that grew up with him that had that comfort with him. It's now, you know what? I do the laundry. I don't even fully like you yet. But as long as I get to not pick up my dog's poop and pee anymore, it'd be an even trade. The whole point is this. Whenever you sign up for Married at First Sight, hopefully I'm talking to future contestants since our videos get out there, right? Listen, you already did the crazy part already, right? And that is signing up for the show. Being picked for the show. Don't try to come on the show and try to self-produce. Don't come on a show and try to be calculated and think you're coming off one way where really we see you in a whole nother way. You get what I'm saying? Because truth be told, we're not really that good at producing. We're not really that good at being our, you're only good at being your real self, right? Any other version of you, we are going to be like, okay, that's not real. That's disingenuous. So that's why I'm like, hey, if you're crazy enough to sign up for this show, to be on Married at First Sight, why don't you just, guess what? Just be married. Don't worry about your businesses. Don't worry about how you look, because at the end of the day, you already did the hard part. And as we can see by these examples, nobody was ready to be married at first sight. But they committed to the process. And guess what? The process served these few. That doesn't mean that it's going to serve everybody. But I will hope in the future of the show that we would see more people committed to the process. So when it comes down to decision day, it could be like, you know what? I gave it all to the process. Not like a fake, I gave it all. You get what I'm saying? I'm talking like a real, I gave everything I can. And at the end of the day, I learned some things about myself. I learned things about this person. And guess what? It's a no for me. Or it's a yes for me. But the whole idea of the whole, like, I'm not going to do this because I don't know you. What do you mean? I'm not going to buy you a massage because I don't know you. What do you mean? That's your wife. You get like, it makes no sense. Commit to the process, and maybe Married at First Sight can work for you. There's anything else you want to add to this conversation, Blair?
I'm just looking ahead and looking forward to the next season. We're winding down on this season of Married at First Sight. It was definitely a wild ride. I know the next one's going to be on Peacock. We already got Peacock, so we're going to be watching it. And I've seen some things come out about how they're trying to get people in different cities. And I even saw some older couples, which I'm like, okay, those are some of the things we were talking about. Let's, get the age range, a little bit different.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see with this new format, what exactly is going to be brought to the show. Like, I want to see people actually in the process trying to make it work, and I want to see the natural struggles and hurdles of people coming together and trying to build a relationship, whether or not it works or not. So you know, I like Married at First Sight, so I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with it.
Listen, excellent, not excellent, perfectly said, right? One thing that I would say as I'm about to get up out of here is that, let's say if something was to happen to you, in the sense of, let's say you get sick, right? And the doctor said, with this sickness, whatever it is, you have a 35% chance of survival rate, right? Your job as the one who have the sickness is to believe in the 30%. You get what I'm saying? Hey, your family may be planning some things behind your back, but that's not but that's none of your business, right?
Right. You got to fight the good fight.
You have to fight the good fight.
Yeah.
Married at First Sight as a whole do not have a good percentage.
Oh, absolutely not.
It doesn't.
That's
right?
why I'm like, y'all really want to come on here and meet your soulmate? But the thing is, sometimes it works.
But my thing is, once you decide to sign up for the show, you decide to fight on the 30%. And I think Married at First Sight got even a less percent than that. I think it's like in the teens.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So once you sign up for the show, guess what? Just be on the show. Stop lying to the experts. Maybe we need to bring a lie detector test in or things of that nature to make sure people are telling the truth. And just be married. And guess what? Married at First Sight maybe can work for you.
Yep.
Anything else?
That's it.
Listen here, we're going to have some more deep dives this week, especially since we are going to review Where Are They Now this week. This is the last week of Married at First Sight. Also, I have taken all of the deep dives and put them in a playlist. So you can go to that playlist and go all the way back from our first deep dive to where I talked about how David and Michelle were both robbed by the experts, all the way to our newest one, to where we gonna do a deep dive about MM and Brandon, so that's probably gonna be our newest one, up to date and things of that nature. Y'all can go back and watch it and basically just enjoy what we said, see if we are true to what we said, did like we stand on our square, did we get off our square, and basically just share the content. And we're here for y'all. Anything else?
That's it.
Subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. We see y'all.
Bye.